And so today we're going to do a deep dive into MH-370. So Jeff Wise, welcome to the podcast.
Having many long conversations and trying to walk them through this complicated case.
I guess a good point to start would be framing out MH-370.
At that point, the plane is completely invisible. It can go anywhere it wants to. You know, most of the world, as you know, as a fighter pilot, most of the world does not have primary radar coverage. And so as long as if you know where primary radar coverage is, you can go anywhere else. The captain calls up air traffic control and says the famous words, "Good night, Malaysia, MH-370. And then they pass the last waypoint in Malaysia, a VFR waypoint called Igari, and they go several seconds later, like almost immediately, the plane goes electronically dark. Everything gets turned off. ADS-B, the SATCOM, ACARS, everything goes dark. This plane is invisible except on primary radar.
So when did the Malaysians realize that it was missing?
And this is one of the major mysteries of the whole case. We don't know why it was turned back on. By 2014, he almost instantaneously knows that this Malaysian airliner has been shot down, and he's telling the President of the United States about it. Obviously, the chronological order of these events tells us whether Putin knew about this thing before it happened. If Putin knew about this before it happened, then very clearly it was an intentional planned thing, and they actually set up the call so that he could tell him personally. And I think, if so, then of course American intelligence knows very well what the order of these events was.
Flight 370.
Flight MH-370.
Flight MH-370, one of the greatest aviation mysteries.
They did. Now, did U.S. know or not? I don't know, but Elliot Higgins and this group called Bellingcat used online social media information to paint a very convincing case that, in fact, they had used chemicals. One of the things about getting involved in MH-370 is that it's really taught me how contrary to human nature science is. Because human beings have a deep, deep emotional need to believe. This is another weird thing about MH-370 is that Inmarsat had different levels of service that you could subscribe to, and Malaysian Airlines was like kind of teetering on the verge of financial insolvency at the time, and they subscribed to the cheapest level called Classic Aero, and it did not provide embedded GPS data in the signal. If they were Singapore Airlines and sort of paying for the highest level of service, all of that data would have been embedded, and again, you would not have that single thread of data. You would have had a confirming sort of side channel of information that would have told you exactly where the plane was going. It's dangerous. You are in a place of potential danger if you're relying on a single source of information. And this is exactly the situation that we find ourselves with MH-370, where we're relying on a single signal that comes from a source that could be altered. We know exactly how this could be altered. The fact that there only a single signal exists is itself suspicious. This does not normally exist. And so everything about this is weird and, into my mind, deeply, profoundly suspicious. And yet I find myself trying to relay these concerns, and they're falling on deaf ears because everybody feels that the case has already been resolved.